Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of JavaScript for Beginners. Now in this episode we are going to be talking about functions. Now what functions are in code in general are they are essentially routines, lists of steps to do. So if you remember in our code, we've been writing code like top down, line by line, where the code will read from the first line, go to the second line, and then maybe it'll loop and maybe it'll do some ifs, but for the most part it's top down. What functions allow us to do is they allow us to write certain lines of code and then have those lines of code like be run several times throughout the program. So like I said, they're like a routine. Imagine when you wake up in the morning, everyone has at least some sort of morning routine. Say you brush your teeth, you eat breakfast, and then let's say you drink some water. And that is a function of three things. You have this function called morning routine, and you do those three things. And that's what functions are in code, really. Now, let's go ahead and see some real examples. So to get started, we want to open up Visual Studio Code again. Go to our Explorer, open folder, and then open our code page, which is on my desktop. So last episode, we left off on this index.js file. We had some basic loop examples. We're going to go ahead and delete all that code for now and come back to something similar in the future. So the basics of functions are, you might know in math. I'm not sure if you happen to know functions in math, but let's just assume you do for now. So in math, you write f of x equals x plus 5. And for anyone who doesn't know what this means, in math, what it means is you can actually give a number to this function. X is a variable, if you remember. Variables in code, you say let x equals blah, 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 like this, and then you can set x equal to something else. Well, in math, essentially x is our function, and then equals x plus 5. So when you do a function of f of 5, that would equal 5 plus 5, or 10, in other words. So that's how functions work in math. Now, in code, it's kind of similar, actually. The way you would write a function like this in code would be function f of x, and then you would put some curly brackets, and then return x plus 5. And so this is exactly what functions are. In one sentence, if I could describe them, they take data, and usually give, or they take data, do something with it, and sometimes give back something else. And what that means is, for example, this function here, function f of x, what it does is it takes data. It takes a variable. And what that means is you can actually give this function whatever you want in code. So if I write something like this, and actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start up our server so that we can see how this example is working. Go ahead and go to your console as always, and then like this. So this is how you write a function in JavaScript. So if we console, so if we say let y, or let result equals f of 5, and then we want to print our result, so console.log result, we save that, and then reload here. And you'll notice it prints 10 on this line right here. And the reason for that is, as you can see here, the function is supposed to return whatever's passed in and then add 5. And then we're printing that. So essentially, this lines right here is, this is how you start a function. You type the word function usually, and then you give the function a name right here, f. This function is like our routine. So like back to the morning routine example, if we wanted to write that, we would say function and then morning routine. So that's the name portion. And then you open and close parentheses, and then inside these parentheses you actually pass variables, or you can pass no variables. Sometimes it'll be empty, and that means you don't give the function anything. For example, morning routine, you usually don't have to give it anything. But for example, here in f, we are giving it x, a variable. And then we open the function here, and this is everything that's inside these curly braces will be run every single time you call the function. Every single time you want that function to run, it'll run all these lines of code. and for now it's only 1 right now. So when it says return here, when in this sentence defining functions, sometimes gives back something else. Well, this function f here actually gives back the number you pass in plus 5. So that's the reason why when we create a result and then we use this assignment operator, remember it takes whatever's on the right and then gives it into the left thing. And for now, what's on the right is actually us using this function. So we give this function the number 5, and then the function returns us back 10 because it wants to return whatever we pass in, which was 5, as you can see right here, and then it adds 5, so it gives us back 10. Now, you might be a little bit confused right now, and I don't blame you. Functions can be, they can be one line, they can be many lines, and they sometimes can be very complex. So let me show you another example of a function. Let's go ahead and create a function, and then let's call it, let's just call it introduction. So this function, what it's going to do is it's going to print some stuff. So I'm going to open up the parentheses, and then what we want to pass here is we want to pass a name. And then we want to pass, let's say, an age, and then a favorite color, or favorite color. And that's a good note. Variables can actually not have spaces. They have to all be one word. So this is called camel case right here, where we have the first word with a lowercase, and then the second, and all words that come after start with an uppercase. So we're going to open this function, and then we're going to console.log. Hello, my name is, and then we're going to add the name variable. And then console.log, I am, and then we're going to add the age, and then add years old. And then we're going to console.log, my favorite color is plus favorite color. So if you write out all these things, and I run this code, notice it doesn't do anything, except it still prints 10 from earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So it doesn't print anything. And that's another thing. Functions don't run unless you want them to run. So in order to get this function to run, I have to type in introduction, which is the name of the function, and then open up and close parentheses. And then you notice here, it wants 3 variables from us. It wants the name, the age, and the favorite color. So let's go ahead and put in, like for example, Matthew, and then age 16, and then favorite color, well, let's just say blue. And then we'll save this and run. Hello, my name is Matthew, I'm 16 years old, and my favorite color is blue. So notice that I wrote all these 3 lines of code to print all this stuff, and I wrote 1 to make it do that. Now guess what? I can actually put another one of these lines, and then I can say, hey, my name is James, I am 12, and my favorite color is gray. And I can save that, and then if I run it, look, hello, my name is Matthew, I'm 16, favorite color is blue, and then after, hello, my name is James, I'm 12, my favorite color is gray. Notice how these 2 lines look very similar, but they each accomplished printing these 3 lines, and that's because we used functions. So remember, functions take in data, we passed it 2 strings and a number, and then they do something with that data, which in this case they printed it. Sometimes they can actually change the data, but in this case they only printed stuff, and then sometimes gives back something, which in this case it didn't give back anything. We just wanted it to print stuff. So that's another example of functions. A third example to maybe help you deepen your understanding if you are still a little bit confused is, let's say we want a function to check someone's age. So we can go function, check age, and then remember, so this is how you define a function. You type in function, and then you put the name of the function, and then you open and close parentheses, and then sometimes you'll put something inside, and then you open up your curly braces. For this example, we only want to pass an age into here, and then we want to, remember, we're going to go back to the, I believe, 3rd lesson, and we're going to use conditionals. So we're going to say if age is greater than 17, console.log, you are an adult. And then, remember all this code, else if age is greater than 12, console.log, you are a teen. And then, else, console.log, you are a child. So if you remember this example back from the second episode, essentially what we're doing is age is a number. And right here, this age is the variable that we pass into the function. And then it's checking that. Is it greater than 17? If so, print that. Is it greater than 12? If so, print that. And if it's less than 12, basically, then print this. So we have this whole function here. And now we can actually check the age multiple times. So let's say we want to check 19. And then we want to check 16. And then we want to check 9. And let's go ahead and remove these two, not to confuse you. And we save and run. Look, it says you are an adult, you are a teen, you are a child. And that's because first we checked 19, and then it ran this, and then we checked 16, and it ran this, and then we checked 9. And if we get rid of this, we save, run, it only says you are an adult and you are a teen. So again, if you noticed, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines in this here, and we are able to use those 7 lines multiple times. If we wanted to do this manually, we would have to go let age 1 equal 19, let age 2 equal 16, and then we would literally have to copy and paste this twice to get this to work. Like this, we'd have to say if age 1 is greater than 17, if age 1 is greater than 12, and then if age 2 is greater than 17, if age 2 is greater than 12, and I'll just get rid of these two calls to the function. And then you'll notice it prints the same thing, but it costs all of these lines of code to do that. In our case, we just use those, and then we delete all of this, and it works the same. So that kind of demonstrates the value of functions, and that's why they're so powerful. They can do so many things. Like you can do like a million different things with one line, because one function, if you didn't notice, can actually call another function. So for inside this check age function, what we're going to do is we're going to call introduction. If you remember that one that says, hello, my name is, I am. And then we can say Matthew 16 and blue again. And if we save this, it says you are an adult because it prints that from here. And then it says, hello, my name, I'm 16, my favorite color is blue. And then it says you are a teen because it's running the second time. And then it does that all again. And you know, this combination doesn't really make sense in this case, but imagine you wanted to do your morning routine. Well, you would have a function called morning routine, and then it would do, it would do some stuff in it, but then it would actually call brush teeth, for example, and then it would call eat breakfast, and then it would call, what was the other one? Drink water, and boom. Like one function can call other functions. And so that's how you kind of make your code much easier to understand. Because sometimes code or like projects can have thousands and thousands of lines of code. And if you don't organize that code in some sort of way, you're going to get lost very quickly. So that's kind of the use of functions. It's called abstraction, where we take an idea like a morning routine, and then we break it down into its smaller ideas. The morning routine has brush teeth, eat breakfast, and drink water. And then we could break those ideas down. Brush teeth, you need to pick up a toothbrush and then brush your teeth for 2 minutes and then wash it. For eating breakfast, you need to sit down and then you need to eat and then you need to maybe clean the plate. And then to drink water, you need to first grab your water bottle and then drink from it. Like each of these steps has several different steps, and that's what functions do. They allow us to take our mind away from all the small details and think of the big picture. So those are some of the main applications of functions. And I guess those are most of the examples I have for today. In the next video, we are going to be talking about arrays, which are kind of like another concept, but I believe like variables, conditionals, loops, and functions are kind of the 4 fundamental ideas of coding. And in the future videos, we're going to be getting into some other stuff that, while not as fundamental, may still be cool, and it can actually level up our programming even more. So if you want to see more videos in this series, or if you happen to miss the previous videos, go ahead and check out the playlist linked in the description where I'll be uploading daily. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.